Good evening. We are back to the study of the Spirit's book. Last week, we started chapter 9, Intervention of Spirits in the Physical World. We went through the first item, which is penetration of our thoughts by spirits. We talked a little bit about the presence of spirits in our lives, that they are present, they are around us, and they can connect to us if they are interested, and if we enter into the connection with them. So we did these 3 questions of penetration of thoughts by spirits. And we did the first question, 459, of covert influence of spirits on our thoughts and actions. But we are going to start from there today, Philip. Okay.
459. Do spirits influence our thoughts and actions? They often direct both. Their influence is greater than you think, for very frequently it is they who guide you.
So here, it's a very important question, always mentioned by by those that are explaining spiritism, for people that ask what is the influence of spirits in our lives, and the answer from the spirits that their influence is greater than you think. That is very frequently is they who guide you. What they they mean to say here is that spirits are connected to us, both on positive and negative actions that we take, and they are trying to influence us on the positive aspect, our guardian angel, our familiar spirits, our sympathetic spirits that are around us, that want us to grow, to evolve, to overcome our challenges, and the negative spirits, which are the ones that may be connected to us through our inferior tendencies or for some personal reasons, depending on what they are interested. Our vibrations are the door that the spirits use to connect with us, again, both positive and negative. So positive uplifting vibrations attract good spirits, open the door for our protecting spirits to help us. Negative thoughts, inferior tendencies open the door for inferior spirits that want to cause us harm for different reasons. Okay? 460.
Do we have any of our own original thoughts, while others that are suggested to us? Your soul is a spirit that thinks. You surely have noticed that many thoughts, and frequently conflicting ones, come to your mind regarding the same subject at the exact same time. In such cases, some of these ideas are your own and some are ours. This leads you to feelings of uncertainty because you have 2 conflicting ideas in your mind.
So again, we are eternal spirit through many incarnations. We've been here. We carry our own ideas, our own intelligence, and we think constantly. So our thoughts are ours, but frequently they are combined with thoughts that are sent to us by spirits. Again, we're going to discuss this a little later. So the question that is going to be asked is, so why can't we differentiate? If it was important for us to differentiate, God would allow us to know which thoughts are ours, which are not. So the fact that we cannot differentiate means that we have to use our senses to choose the paths and to use what is what is helpful to us. When we have conflicting thoughts, again, it's an opportunity for us to stop and reflect and analyze what should we do with those conflicting thoughts. And, you know, conflicting thoughts not necessarily mean that they are both coming, one from us and one from the spirits. Can be both from us or both from the spirits. They are just thoughts that come to our minds either by ourselves or by spirits. What we do with those thoughts is really what's important here, how we choose to act on our thoughts or not act on our thoughts, making the choices. Okay.
461. How can we distinguish between our own thoughts and those the Spirit suggests to us? When a thought is suggested, it is like a voice speaking to you. Your own thoughts usually occur to you first. This distinction is not of much practical importance to you, and it is often better not to be able to make it. Your action then has greater freedom. If you choose the right road, you do so more spontaneously, while if you take the wrong one, your responsibility will be greater.
So we have free will. When we start, it's very common that when we start studying spiritism, when we start learning about the influence of the spirits in our daily lives, we usually take the easy road of blaming the spirits for everything that we do wrong, right? It's not my responsibility. It was an influence from the spirits that made me do this or made me not do this. And again, and in reality, we have our free will. We are responsible for our actions. The thoughts that come to us, maybe ours, maybe from spirits. The spirits here suggest that you can think of, if you notice that that sounds like a voice speaking to you, may come from a spirit. The thoughts that come to us normally first is our own thoughts. That's the suggestion from the spirits. But that's not necessarily a rule. It's just an indication of how these things come to our minds. Normally, our first thoughts come from ourselves, and then when start to reflect, then we can open the door to different thoughts coming from the spirits. But the important thing here is we are responsible for our actions. We cannot blame the spirits. They can influence us, yes, both negatively and positively. But if we choose the right road, is our own merit. It's not because the spirits made us make that choice. And if we choose the wrong road, again, it's not we cannot blame the spirits. It's our own choice. We have our free will to make decisions. And again, the moral laws are imprinted in our conscience. So if we just stop and reflect, we should have an indication of the right path for our actions. Okay?
What do you make of this last sentence? When you say, if you choose the right road, you'll do so more spontaneously. What do you think about this? Are you more spontaneously to make better choice than not so good choices? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that phrase. I think I don't know if the original is like that, and I question if it is, because it may be because the second part, it says your responsibility will be greater, right?
If you choose the wrong one.
Yeah. Yes, Fabio.
Could it be your instinct, your first instinct?
Yeah, if this is the correct translation, I would think that is, as they say here, your own thoughts usually occur first. Is a consequence of that. You do more spontaneously coming from you, but But again, our first thought may be the wrong one, right? Maybe a bad one. So
That's right.
I don't really know if anyone has the original versions there, or in French or in Portuguese. Please take a look, because I think that it may not be spontaneously the word here, maybe another one, but I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that. And I agree with you. Yes, Danny.
And also, like, what is the first thought? It's not like my brain stops thinking, and then I like, oh, I had my first thought. It's like a mumbo jumbo of thinking thoughts. It could be a specific subject, like, okay, now I'm going to think about that. It's not really how it happens, right? Unless it's a specific thing that you have to decide, and then it's clearer that okay, that's what are my first thoughts that I had. But for me, this doesn't really help much. I think, like, the question, because this is something that really makes me think about, right? And okay, is this thought coming from a spirit that wants to help me? Should I go this way, go that way? The way I developed how to figure out, more or less, is it starts appearing everywhere, that same thought or the same idea or the suggestion. For example, I open a book of I don't know, meditation, and then it's there. Or I open the Instagram, and the second scroll I see that kind of the same message. I'm talking to somebody that I really trust, and that comes up again. That's how I thought, okay, I think that's not really coming from me. It's coming from a help. In the good way. The negative way may be the same, but in a, of course, different. You're not going to get negative influence from a good book, or I think. I mean, but anyway, it's kind of tricky for me, this.
Yeah, and again, I think that what the spirits tells us here, it is because I think what they're trying to say is do not pay much attention if it's yours or it's not yours. Just try to make the right choices as much as possible, right? Because in the end, it's going to be your choices, and you are going to face the consequence. Doesn't matter if it comes from the spirits or not, right? So you face the positive or negative consequences. So I think that's more of what the spirits are trying to tell us here. Okay.
But it is the first thought on a specific subject. Yes, it is on that, because it's not going to be the first thought that I have. First of what? You're right, we're always thinking. So it's the first thought on a specific subject. Something as simple as let's go eat. Where are you gonna eat today? And the first thought gonna be, oh, I want Chinese food. And then somebody gonna say something else, somebody gonna say Arabic food, and then you might go pick all the choice. But the very first one that comes in, you pick Chinese food, that is yours. And everything else will be suggestions from around you. In Canada, describe it.
Okay.
462. Do intelligent people and geniuses always get their ideas from their own minds? Their ideas sometimes come from their own spirit. However, they are often suggested to them by other spirits who deem them capable and worthy of understanding and disseminating them. When they do not find the required ideas in themselves, they unconsciously call for inspiration. They make an evocation without even being aware of it. If it were useful to us to be able to distinguish between our own thoughts and the ones suggested clearly, God would have given us the means of doing so. just as God has given us the means of distinguishing between day and night. When something is left vague, it is often in our best interest.
Okay. When we talk about, I think it was Einstein that said that it's 90% perspiration and 10% inspiration, right? The 10% inspiration is this, you know, you do the work, 90% of the work, and then you ask for the help of the spirit. The spirits will be there to help you, the 10% that is the inspiration, right? In the sense that they are going to, so in geniuses, intelligent people, they are going to do the work, and then of course they'll be assisted, right? I was remembering what today is 78 years since the first since Divaldo gave his first lecture, right? For 20 people in the state of Sergipe. And Divaldo always tells the story that the first lecture, he was nervous, he studied a lot, and went there, it was a brilliant lecture. He was very happy, and then he was invited to come back next day, and he said, okay, the spirits are there to help me, I don't need to do anything. So he appeared there the second day without any preparation, and when he went up there, no spirit showed up. So he started getting very nervous, looking around. The first day there were 20 people, second day there were 200 people that went there to listen to him. And then the spirit Viana de Carvalho came to him and said, this is for you to learn that you have to do your part. You have to prepare. If you prepare yourself, we'll be here to help you. But if you don't do your part, we won't do ours. But for today, we are going to help you. So they helped him and he gave the lecture. But he said, since my second lecture, I never stopped preparing myself for every day to give the lecture, so I can guarantee the help. So that's what they're saying here, right? For intelligent people and geniuses, they do their part. They work hard. And if they work hard, the help will come, because again, we don't know everything. We need the help and assistance of the incarnates and discarnates and the spirits. Whenever is something constructive is being done and is going to help humanity, the spirits will be there to help and assist us, as we read in many books of André Luiz and of Emmanuel. Okay.
463.
Yeah.
It is sometimes said that our first thought is always the best. Is this true? It may be good or bad, depending on the nature of the incarnate spirit. It is always good for the one who listens to good inspirations.
Again, this is the spirits are very direct here. It's maybe good or bad. It doesn't, the first thought is not always the best. You can have, if you have some bad tendencies, your first thought will be to go to do the wrong choice, right? So let's say if you have a tendency of drinking, and you are trying to avoid drinking because you know it causes you harm, you pass in front of a bar, the first thought will be, go into the bar and drink. It's not a good choice. It's a bad choice. So the first thought is just that. The first thought is not good or bad, depends on our inclination. And they say it's always good for the one who listens to good inspirations. If we are always working on improving ourselves, on trying to connect with the spiritual benefactors, then it will be our first thought. We will always be, or most of the times, we will be helping us. Okay. Yes, Fabio.
Okay, on that note, I would actually, my first thought was to have asked you, I didn't hit it on time, something about the last phrase of the last question. If something is left vague, it is for us, what is it? It is in our best interest. So that applies also to what you just said, based on this next question too, right? You're saying that the first thought, they're saying that the first thought is probably the best, but then in what sense do you see this vagueness that they allude to?
Here when Kardec says when something is left vague is often to our best interest, it's what God, the choice by God for us to not be able to distinguish between our first, if the thought comes from us or is suggested to us by the spirits. That's what Kardec means here, what is often in our best interest, meaning when something is left vague in terms of knowing if it's ours or from the spirits. I don't know how it applies to what we are, this question, Fabio. Why you think it applies here?
Well, because you're saying that I guess actually you already answered what I had question about. So yeah, I think this is good. Thank you.
Thanks.
464. How can we determine whether a suggested thought comes from a good or bad spirit? Thoroughly scrutinize its quality. Good spirits only give good guidance. It is your responsibility to make the distinction.
That's when we have to use our own moral evolution. We know what is right and what is wrong. And normally when I talk about people that are developing mediumship and they listen to, they hear spirits, and we have some people that come to hear and talk, sometimes ask questions about this. And one thing that I always say is, if it is less evolved spirits are the ones that like to give orders and to impose thoughts. Good spirits will only give inspiration and good guidance. They will never tell us to do anything. So if the spirit is telling you to do something, I can guarantee it's not an evolved spirit. Even if it's what they are telling you to do sounds right, sounds good. If they're telling, it's not. Good spirits only inspire, gives guidance to us, because they want us to make our own choices and to have the merit for our choices. That's how we evolve morally and spiritually. Inferior spirits want us to do things that they are interested in us doing, so they have no problem in trying to force us to choose one way or another. So if we are if you are able to distinguish that there is a thought coming that is forcing you or telling you to do something, I would immediately discard that thought, because it's very likely that it is not a good spirit. Again, I'm not going to say 100%, because of course, let's say you have your grandmother that loves you, and she's evolved, she's as much evolved as you are, so she's not more evolved than you, and she wants to help you, and she may tell you to do something because that's the way that she is, right? She thinks, she doesn't know that she has to give inspiration. So just to say that there is an exception, but in general, we should see these influences from the spirit. We should make the distinction between guidance, inspiration, and firm instructions to do this or to do that. Okay.
I know it's easy to say, but if you just refer to what we know, the value, the moral teachings from Jesus Christ, then just refer to Jesus. You know, would Jesus suggest such a thing? If the answer yes, probably a good suggestion.
Yeah, the problem is many times we don't know the answer, right?
Yeah, that's very hard.
Yeah, so we have to make choices. But again, choices that we have to make are an opportunity of learning. And when we make a choice because we need to need to learn, we need to make choices on things that we don't know what are the right choice, but we have to make a choice. We don't create karmas for making mistakes on things we don't know. We create karma for ourselves when we know that is wrong and we do it anyway.
But it's very hard these days for us to claim ignorance. I don't think we can claim ignorance very often anymore. I think we know a lot more than to apply ignorance is very hard.
But our evolutionary path is made through mistakes, right? Making mistakes and learning from them, from mistakes, right?
Our present, in terms of moral ethical values, I think it's very hard to claim ignorance.
For example, there's a significant group of people that believe on this assisted, what do you call it?
Assisted suicide?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think some of them, maybe some of them know that this shouldn't, that this is not the ideal way to go, but others really have firm belief. So are they misinformed or not? So better. And I heard something from Deval that this, recently, I thought was really nice about suicide, explaining also a bit of the differentiation when it's super negative, when it's not. And he made a very clear distinction, for example, somebody that commits suicide because he's just in financial troubles and got in trouble illicitly. And then somebody that is suffering from depression, or a kid that is really struggling with a mental illness. Then there's a clear distinction. The kid possibly isn't yet aware of what would be a better option, while the other one is a consequence of action. So maybe there is where the ignorance might still be a bit around.
Yeah, I agree. And I was actually reading, you think that people in Brazil should know a little better because they have access to spiritism, to much more than outside. And I just read today about a Brazilian lady that went to Switzerland for assisted suicide, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing exactly what she was doing. So yeah. In the end, nothing is black and white, right?
Yeah, that's true. Individuals, they know the choices they are making, and they may not know the consequences of it because they're like this, but the choices themselves they know. They may not know the consequences.
Yeah.
No, maybe they do.
The suicides don't know the consequences. I don't know.
I don't know. They don't. Yeah. But knowing that we have reincarnated so many times, that knowledge is got to be there somewhere, right? We just choose to go a certain route because it just became, and I get it, it must be very difficult to see somebody suffering, and even to assist somebody in a situation like that. I can imagine why you get to that point, but that information has to be there somewhere. Because we've reincarnated so many times. But
yeah,
it's hard, right?
Yeah, I believe they know. They really don't know the consequences. They have no idea of reincarnation. I don't believe in it. Absolutely not. I believe in perpetuation of our life completely. That's my take. Otherwise, doesn't imagine suicide.
Okay.
465.
Yep.
Why do imperfect spirits tempt us to wrongdoing, to make you suffer like they do? Does that lessen their personal suffering? No, but they are jealous of those who are happier than themselves. What kind of suffering do they want to make us endure? that reserved for beings that are of a lower rank and far removed from God.
Misery loves company, right? We know the phrase, the famous phrase, right? What does it mean really here? There are two types of spirits that are going to tempt us to wrongdoing. Two types of, well, they are inferior spirits, but they are either they don't want us to progress because they are companions from the past, and if we progress, we leave them behind. They don't want to be left alone. They don't want us to progress because they like our company, or they have nothing personal with us, but what we are doing serves them, right? So someone is an alcoholic and drinks, the spirits that benefit from the alcoholic drinking want to continue connected to this alcoholic. And these are easier to get rid of because it's not personal, right? So you just have to have the strength to quit the bad habit, and the spirits will move away. The personal ones are much more difficult because they are interested in you personally. They have a connection to us from the past, and they don't want us to move forward. They think that, and we see this a lot on Mondays in our mediumship meetings, right? They think that by causing harm to those that caused harm to them, or that cause them difficulties, they are going to suffer less. And in reality, they are not. They continue to suffer as much as they still suffer, because the relief that they get when they succeed in their evil or inferior actions, it's a very quick and temporary one, and then they go back to their suffering stages. It's like what they say on people that win the lottery, right? After 6 months, they are back to what they were mentally, not in terms financially, but mentally. They 6 months later, they're back to what they were before, with the same mental issues, same problems, relationships, and with the complication sometimes of now having money and people asking them for money. But is this, in this case, right, the less evolved spirits, if we are making an effort, what does it mean for them? That they know that they have to make an effort. That's the path of, right, of the right path, and they don't want to do it. Why gangs don't allow members to leave? Gangs here in the physical world, right? Because if they leave the gang, first they can report what the gang is doing, which is dangerous for them, but they don't want to allow them to thrive outside the gang, right? They want to have control of the individuals. If you think of a gang here and you think of the spiritual world, the spirits surrounding people that are they have inferior tendencies and are acting on their inferior tendencies, the spirits don't want them to get out of this, because in some way they feel something from it. They think they benefit from it. I was going to say they benefit, and it's not the right term. They think they benefit from it, which is the wrong understanding, but it is what they think, right? They want us to suffer as much as they're suffering. So let's say if you know what we hear a lot, right? Spirits that complain about those, the incarnate ones that come here, that kill their families or destroy destroy their lives many incarnations ago, and they don't accept that this person is trying to change, and they want to have the revenge the exact same way that the harm that was caused to them. They don't want to let it go, because the moment they let it go, they have to think about themselves. They have to think about their choices. They have to think about their path. And normally they don't want to do that. They rather stay, they are comfortable in their state of persecution that allows them to have this objective, and they are afraid of losing the objective, right? So that's the explanation of misery loves company. They want us to continue being companion to them. It's on us to make the right choices to separate ourselves from them. Even if we made the mistakes they accuse us of doing, the fact that we are trying to improve and are trying to repair unconsciously our mistakes by making an effort of learning and evolving, it causes them problems, but we can overcome it because we can disconnect from them, making the right choices and doing the right things on our path. Okay.
466.
Yeah.
Why does God permit spirits to lure us to wrongdoing? God uses imperfect spirits as instruments for testing your faith and perseverance in doing good. As a spirit, you must advance in the knowledge of the infinite. To do this, you suffer trials to attain goodness. Our mission is to lead you to the right path. When you fall prey to bad influences, it is because you attract lower spirits by your malicious desires. Wicked spirits always come to assist you in carrying out the malevolence you desire to commit. They only help you do wrong when you give in to vile desires. If you are inclined to commit murder, you will have a swarm of spirits around you encouraging you. Conversely, you will also have others who will try to influence you to do good. This restores balance and allows you to make your own decision. This is how God allows us to choose our individual path and gives us the freedom of yielding to one of the conflicting influences that act upon us.
Again, we have free will, and we make our own choices. It's not that God allows the imperfect spirits as instruments of wrongdoing. It's that the law of cause and effect, the perfect laws created by God, allow us to connect with the imperfect spirits as in the end, everything is a learning opportunity. If the law is of progress and we are always progressing, all the opportunities we have to progress are around us. And sometimes these wrong choices we make that allows us to associate with inferior spirits are also opportunities for us to learn and to choose the right path the next time. We live in a world of trials and atonements, right? So atonements are consequences of our actions from the past. Trials are opportunities to learn things that we don't know, to learn, to acquire moral and intellectual qualities through experiences, new experiences. Now, during our lives, because we are imperfect spirits, our vibrations vary. They go up and they go down. Again, going back, we have many spirits from our past that we caused harm or that we were companions in doing bad things, and they don't want us to evolve. They will always try to influence us if we allow them. And again, we are the ones with free will that we will allow them to connect to us. And this is not God permitting or not permitting. This is just a consequence of the natural law. The natural law is you vibrate at a certain level, and there will be spirits vibrating at the same level. If the level is good, there'll be good spirits vibrating with at the same level. If the level is bad, we'll have imperfect spirits connecting to us. Again, every time someone, I read about these atrocities that some people commit, in wars, in crimes and everything, I normally think about the spiritual influences around these individuals, right? Because nobody is going to decide to commit murder and is going to do that alone. Immediately, they will be surrounded by spirits that are just either the enemies of the person that that they want to kill, or spirits connected to, they enjoy the act of murder, the consequences of the action because of they may be evil spirits, or they want us to face the consequences of doing this act. So why is always recommended prayer, right? Because prayer is the most efficient way from us to elevate our vibrations. It's not the words, it's not the intention, it's the vibrations. When we sincerely pray, paying attention to what we are doing and praying from our hearts, we are going to elevate our vibrations, our thoughts. And by elevating our thoughts and our vibrations, we're going to disconnect from the spirits who wants to cause us harm. Of course, it's very difficult for us to keep the vibrations that are elevated at all times. But as long as we don't stay on the low side, right? We go there, have this negative thought, get out of it. Divaldo once taught us, right? He said, when you have a negative thought, just carry it to the end and continue and change. Don't fight against it, because if you fight, you keep thinking about it. You keep fighting and you keep with the thought. So go to the end of the thought and move to a different thought, a positive thought. It's an interesting exercise. It's not obvious, right? Because our tendency is to fight against inferior thoughts. And what Divaldo it told us is that when you fight, the thought is stay there, because you are there thinking about it. I don't want to think about it. And then you're thinking about it. I don't want to think. I need to change. And you keep. So if you carry the thought to the end, whatever that means, you move to a positive thought. You replace it with a positive thought. That was the teaching that he gave us. And by changing, there's no empty space, right? So the spirits that will connect to us when we elevate our thoughts will displace the other spirits that won't be able to follow our vibrations when they are elevated. Once I was listening to a speaker in a spiritist center, and he said, when you are inside a spiritist center and you leave, don't stay around. Don't leave the spiritist center and stay around having mundane talks, because that's the spirits that all stayed outside the spirit center. They're all there waiting. And if you lower your vibration the moment you leave the spiritist center, they will connect to you immediately. So when you leave the spiritist center, if you move away from it, because keep the elevated thoughts for some time until you are far from it, then you can go to your normal thoughts, which I thought it was interesting. But again, it makes sense, right? Where are the spirits that came with us but couldn't be brought here because they are in no condition of being treated? They're there by the door, right? Waiting. So if we allow them to reconnect, they will, right?
On the same line of thinking, like you said, you mentioned the prayers, the meditation, the self-knowledge, also to identify the what ideas are coming from me, what ideas are coming from as an inspiration, and also that helps to keep the the vibration high?
Meditation, definitely. If you're doing the right way, meditation is one of the recommended things for you to free yourself from negative energies, negative thoughts. If it's going to help you to differentiate that what it comes from you or from other spirits, I don't know, and I don't think so. But
Because
again,
I don't hear, I don't see, I don't feel, so for me it's way harder.
yeah, but yeah, like the spirit say, it's not important, right? If you don't know, if you don't see, then it's probably not important for you, right? If it was, you would, right? Okay,
467.
just a sec, Philip. Danny.
I have a question about this. You mentioned the spirits that we, for example, had something together in the past and they don't want us to learn or to move on, right? In this case, it says it relates to our desire to do something wrong or these vile desires, or he gives the example of murder, but I want to give a more like a trivial example, not so radical like to commit murder. So the spirit that wants to take revenge on us, it's really about the vibration that we sleep on our vigilance, or it's more the affinity we had from past lives. Like you understand, it's not only the vibrational level, but a whole level of another life or lives that the affinity was there or it's still there somehow.
Yeah, it's both, right? So they are trying to cause you harm somewhat, right? It can, maybe they don't want you to commit murder because they know that you don't have the tendency, the inclination, so they are not going to force you to do something that we can only be influenced on on things that belong to us, right? Now they will be around you if you will. Sorry. If you allow them to act, to influence you, it's your choice with your vibrations. The thing is, they are not around us 24/7, because we have to also to understand that the spirits, they have their own lives. They keep this connection with you while they're doing whatever they are doing there, waiting for an opportunity that you invite them, in a sense, invite them in, right? You lower your vibration, you invite them in, and they will come. So if we are able to keep our vibration more or less elevated, we don't fall to our imperfections, fall hard on our imperfections, they are not going to be able to connect with you. You'll be protected. It is the influence, the strong influence is when you are acting on your inferior tendencies. So, you are, let's say, more trivial. You don't like your neighbor because she plays music loud, and you are trying to planning something to cause her any disturbance, not pain, but any disturbance. So immediately the spirits that are associated with her will connect with you, because you are trying to cause her some difficulties, right? So if whatever she's doing, you choose to take the high road and ignore what she's doing and choose a different path, then they cannot connect with you, because you're not trying to do anything. The intention and the willingness to act on our inferior tendencies is what's going to make these spirits connect to us.
But it can just be our ego. you know what I mean? It's not necessarily some specific intention. It can be just my ego, you
Yeah.
know, my pride.
Yes, you can.
It's way more subtle.
Yes, you can. Let's say, you know, you're jealous of, I don't know, a group of people. You're just, you're not acting on it, but you're thinking about it. They will be there to excite your jealousy even more. So it can cause harm to yourself, because they want, in the end, they want to harm you. So they will use whatever tools you provide to them. So maybe you're not acting or anything, but you're just causing harm. Again, when we have inferior tendencies, envy, or ill desires towards someone without doing anything, we are going to associate with the spirits that want to cause us harm. Yes, you're right there. Okay.
467.
Yeah.
Can we free ourselves from the influence of spirits who lure us to inequity? Yes, because they are only drawn to those who attract them by the moral character of their thoughts and desires.
That's exactly what you asked, right, Danny? So how can we free ourselves from their influence? They are drawn to those that attract them by inferior tendencies, on thoughts and desires. It doesn't have to be actions. It could be only thoughts and desires. It's already enough to attract them. We free ourselves when we control those thoughts. We educate our thoughts and educate our desires. We fight against the inferior thoughts, inferior tendencies. Okay. What happens when we do?
Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
468. When repelled by our will, do spirits relinquish their own temptations? What other option do they have? When they see that they cannot accomplish their goal, they give up. However, they continue to watch for the right opportunity, like a cat who keeps an eye out for a mouse.
Yeah, here is the thing is, can we get rid of these spirits permanently? The only way to get rid of them permanently, if we really change ourselves, right? If we're trying to change ourselves, they're still around waiting for us to fail on our tries. If we fully succeed, and again, remember that they can connect to our thoughts and our vibrations. So if they fully understand that we have moved on, that we are no longer carry those inferior tendencies, they'll move away, right? Again, if it's not personally connected to us, there is other spirits that they can connect that will have the same imperfection that we used to have. If it's personal, it's an opportunity for them to learn. They may take the opportunity or not, or they may just retreat, go to on their own business, and try to reconnect to us in another opportunity, and may not be able to if we really have moved on. Okay.
469. How can we neutralize the influence of wicked spirits? By doing only what is right and putting all your faith in God. You repel lower spirits and prevent them from controlling you. Do not listen to spirits who inspire you with despicable thoughts, cause conflict, and stimulate malicious passions. Particularly distrust those who flatter your pride, because this is how a spirit attacks you at your weakest point. This is why Jesus makes you recite the Lord's Prayer. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Yes, again, what we've been talking here, by doing only what's right and putting our faith in God, you repel lower spirits and prevent them from controlling you. It's I think when you read here, you think about the mediums, right? Mediums that sometimes receive messages from spirits that flatter them, right? we have to be very careful with those, right? You receive you get excited about your own the messages you are receiving, the spirits that are connecting to you, and that can be a way of the spirits to cause us harm. And again, the influence of the less evolved spirits can be neutralized. The recipe is there. It's prayer and good thoughts, right? And making the right choices, understanding and accepting that we are inferior spirits. We are going to sometimes fail. We are going to sometimes have these inferior spirits around us, and they are going to be able to influence us in some of our actions, because if we were more evolved spirits, we wouldn't be here incarnated. We would be in a more advanced world. So the fact that the effort, again, the true spirit is the one that makes the effort to improve themselves every day to be better than they were yesterday. So as long as we're doing the effort to improve ourselves on a daily basis, and we are applying ourselves to overcome our imperfections, we are going to make harder and harder for inferior spirits to connect to us and to influence us. But it is, again, as Emmanuel told Chico, discipline, 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 right? Which is hard. We have to have discipline. And so the recipe is there, but we have to do our part. And again, the Lord's Prayer, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, which is in the Lord's Prayer. It is what Jesus is telling us to ask for, right? To give us strength to choose the right path and not to fall into the temptations of doing the wrong choices. That's what the Lord's Prayer tells us. So we know it. Now, to put in practice, it's harder, but the fact that we are here studying and learning and applying ourselves, it's already a very good step on that direction. Okay? All right, we are going to have to stop here. It's 1 minute left, so still there are some questions here, but we come back next week to this. Okay? So, what do we have this weekend? On Saturday, I will be giving the talk on the USS Spiritist Federation. I'm going to be talking about the book, The Consoler, which was a book that was recently published in English, book published by Emmanuel by Chico and by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation in 1940. It's a book of questions and answers that was recently published in English, so I'm going to present a little bit about the book. I helped with the translation. So that's this Saturday, 11 a.m. through the United States Spiritist Federation YouTube page. On Sunday, this Sunday is the 5th Sunday of the month, we are going to go back to the book Jesus in the Home, and we are going to go through chapters 9, 10, 11. That's it. 9, 10, 11. Book club next Wednesday, chapter 3 of the book A Light in the Darkness. Okay? I think that's it. Carol, can you do our final prayer?
Certainly. Thank you very much, John. And thank you, Elmo. Thank you, Philip, for reading this evening for us and everyone here who would be participating. Infinite Creator and Supreme Intelligence, we give thanks to be together for our studies of the Spirit's Book, Book 2, Chapter 9, subject being Covert Influence of Spirits on Our Thoughts and Actions. We all have free will and are responsible for our own actions. We shouldn't blame the spirits. Active spirits surround us, both positive and negative, and even jealous spirits as well. We can ponder our thoughts to sort out various ideas as to what action or even an inaction is needed. We must do our part. However, assistance is always available to inspire and guide us. Good spirits want us to make our choices using the free will that we have. Our task is to be discerning as to how the information and messages are given. As we evolve, we will be in more alignment with the natural law. Prayer will help us elevate our thoughts and vibrations. We try to change our thoughts and inferior tendencies and to go along the elevated pathway in this life. Keep the faith and endeavor to do good each day. It does take effort. We give thanks to the spiritual benefactors and the good spirits for guiding and inspiring us this evening. May we receive the love, light, and peace of Christ within us, and for our loved ones, our teachers, our directors, our counselors, our mediums, the workers, the healers, and all participants. We pray for inner peace and especially for world peace now, and for those who are suffering in the physical and spiritual worlds. We pray for our center, SGNY, and all Spiritus centers throughout the world, that they may grow, prosper, expand, and be protected throughout the day and throughout the night. As we close, we humbly ask for safety and protection as we return to our family, our friends, our loved ones, and co-workers. May we go forth and remind ourselves to be beacons of love, of light, of peace, of service, and charity, which is love in action. May peace and love prevail. So be it.